After working 60 hours a week to help pay off my parents' mortgage, I came home to find my room completely emptied. My mom smiled sweetly and said, "We needed the space for a new home gym. You can sleep in the garage." I slept on concrete for 3 months before I finally snapped, and what I did next shattered the whole family. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Especially not my own family. But when people treat you like garbage long enough, something inside you breaks. I'm 27 now. I live in Flagstaff, Arizona. It's not a big town, but it's home. Or at least, it used to be. Growing up, we didn't have much. My dad worked construction jobs until he hurt his back when I was 16. My mom bounced between different retail jobs. She'd get fired a lot. Sometimes she'd blame her manager, sometimes the hours were bad, but really she just never liked working. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but that only works if someone else is paying the bills. I was the quiet one in the family. I didn't ask for anything. I got good grades. I worked hard. While my younger sister, Tessa, always got attention for whatever crisis she was having that month, I kept my head down. I didn't have time for drama. I was just trying to survive. I stayed home after high school and enrolled in community college. I worked nights at a hardware store and weekends at a car wash. I paid for everything myself: school, gas, insurance, groceries. My parents didn't give me a cent. If anything, I was helping cover the electric bills some months. Eventually I finished my HVAC program. That was the turning point. I landed a job at a company doing installs and repairs all over northern Arizona. The pay was solid, and I started saving up. I had plans. Maybe get an apartment. Maybe travel a little. Just live life on my own terms. Then one Sunday, my mom and dad asked me to sit down. They looked serious. My stomach dropped before they even said anything. Mom laid out a stack of envelopes on the table. "We're behind on the mortgage. 3 months behind." I looked at my dad. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "I thought the house was almost paid off," I said. My mom sighed. "We refinanced a few times. Used the money for some things we needed." Turns out, some things included a new truck for my dad, a remodeled kitchen, and a 2-week trip to Europe for my sister to find herself after a breakup. I wish I was joking. I should have said no. I should have walked away right then. But that's not who I was. I couldn't stand the idea of my parents losing the house, even if they'd made a mess of it. So I agreed to help. For the next year and a half, I worked like a machine. I picked up extra shifts. Took emergency repair calls at 3 a.m. Did side work for cash. There were weeks I worked over 70 hours. I gave my parents $1,000 a month, sometimes more if they asked. I skipped meals. Skipped dentist appointments. Skipped having a life. I didn't complain. Not once. Then one Friday night, I came home after a 14-hour day. I was dirty, exhausted, and just wanted to collapse in bed. But when I opened my bedroom door, everything was gone. Not just moved around, gone. The bed, the desk, the dresser. Even the posters on my wall. The closet was empty. The carpet had been vacuumed. It looked like no one had ever lived there. I stood there in silence for a minute. I thought maybe there'd been a break-in. I walked out, still holding my tool bag, and found my mom in the living room in yoga pants, sipping one of her green smoothies. "Oh, hey," she said, smiling like everything was fine. "We emptied out your room. We're putting in a home gym." I didn't respond. My brain couldn't process it. She kept going, like she was giving me a tour. "We moved your stuff to the garage. You'll be sleeping out there now." We needed the space, and it's not like you're ever home." I walked to the garage, thinking maybe they had set something up for me. They hadn't. It was just my boxes stacked against the wall. No bed. No fan. No insulation. Just bare concrete and a faint smell of gas from the lawn mower. It was 92 degrees that night. I laid down on a folded-up blanket and stared at the ceiling for hours, sweating through my shirt. I could hear the treadmill being delivered the next morning. No one came to check on me. Not once. I wish I could say I confronted them the next day. I didn't. I was too tired. Too numb. I went to work the next morning like nothing happened. Got through a 10-hour shift fixing rooftop units in the sun, then came home and crawled back into that concrete box they called a garage. Weeks passed. Then months. They never brought it up again. Not once did my mom or dad say, "Hey, sorry for tossing you into the garage like a damn dog." They didn't even act like it was strange. My mom was obsessed with her new wellness journey. Every morning at 6 a.m. I'd hear the elliptical screeching above me while she blasted her motivational podcasts. My dad, who barely worked anymore, spent his time lounging around and talking about how mentally taxing managing the house had become. The only time they acknowledged me was when they needed money. "You mind helping us with the water bill this month? We're a little short on groceries, can you spot us $200? Your sister's having a tough time again, maybe you could help her get back on her feet?" And every time, I said yes. Not because I wanted to. But because I still thought maybe if I kept being useful, they'd see me. Appreciate me. Then something happened that flipped a switch inside me. One night, I came home early from a job. The client had to reschedule last minute, so I showed up around 5 p.m. instead of 9 like I usually did. I walked into the kitchen and heard them talking in the living room. They didn't know I was home. My sister was there, crying on the couch. Again. "I just don't get why I always have to struggle," she said, wiping her eyes. "It's like, everything always works out for him." Then my mom said something I'll never forget. "Well, he's not really living, is he? I mean, he's basically our workhorse. He doesn't need his own space or privacy. He doesn't even have a girlfriend." They all laughed. My dad added, "As long as he keeps those checks coming in, he can sleep in the damn shed for all I care." I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just turned around and walked back outside, sat in my truck, and stared at the steering wheel for a long time. That night, I didn't sleep. I laid on the garage floor, heart pounding, listening to them laugh upstairs. And I made a decision. I was done helping. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to take everything back. It started small. I stopped giving them money. No announcements. No fights. Just silence. When my mom asked for help with the water bill the next week, I said, "I can't. I'm behind on my own stuff." She blinked, like she couldn't understand the words. Then shrugged and walked away. 2 days later, my dad came to the garage first time in months and asked if I could lend him $500 for a vehicle repair. I told him no. That was the moment the mood shifted. They started treating me differently. Colder. My mom would leave passive-aggressive notes on the fridge. "Please don't eat the food if you're not contributing." My dad started parking in a way that blocked my truck in the driveway. I had to wake him up twice at 5 a.m. just to leave for work. One night, I got home to find the garage door opener had been disconnected. I had to bang on the side door for 15 minutes until my sister finally let me in, acting like I was the one being rude. They were trying to push me out. I knew it. But I also knew they still needed me. They just didn't realize how badly. You see, I had access to everything. All the financial documents. Passwords. The utilities were in my name because I'd been the only one with good credit. The HVAC in the house? I installed and maintained it. I'd done all the upgrades. The insulation. The wiring. I was the reason the house was still standing. And then came the tipping point. One morning, I woke up to the sound of hammering. My dad and some guy he hired off Craigslist were putting up drywall in the garage. They were turning my room into a storage space. I walked in, shirtless and furious, and my dad had the nerve to say, "You've overstayed your welcome. You've had months to figure things out. It's time." That night, I stayed at a coworker's place. I didn't say anything. Didn't cause a scene. But the next day, I started the process of taking my life back and tearing theirs apart. First, I called the utility companies and pulled my name from every bill. Gas. Electric. Water. Internet. I didn't owe them a warning. Legally, I wasn't responsible anymore. Next, I logged into the house insurance portal. I was listed as a secondary insured party. I had added myself years ago when I started paying into it. I canceled the extended coverage plan I'd helped fund. Just left the bare minimum. Then came the part that stung the most. The HVAC. The system I had installed by hand, for free, using my own tools and labor. I knew the wiring. The access points. The security code. One quiet night, while they were out, I came back. I disconnected the thermostat control board. No heating, no cooling. Arizona in July? That's a punishment in itself. They called me, freaking out. Left angry voicemails. Said I was sabotaging the family. But I wasn't done. I still had one more card to play. My last move wasn't about money. Or power. It was about truth. I had kept records. Every payment I made toward the mortgage. Every dollar I handed them. Every text where they asked for help. I had copies of the bank transfers, notes from our family meetings, even a few voice recordings from times they admitted they were using my money to stay afloat. So I called the bank. I told them I wanted to dispute the financial agreement I'd made with my parents, not to reverse it, but to report unauthorized use. I wasn't on the title. I wasn't on the deed. I had no legal protection, but I had proof I was paying into something I didn't own. The bank couldn't do much right away, but it triggered a review of their refinance paperwork, and that's when everything started to unravel. Apparently, when they refinanced, they lied on the paperwork about income sources and support. They said they had rental income. They didn't. They said the remodels were funded by savings. They weren't. It wasn't identity theft. But it was close enough to flag them for fraud. That was just the beginning. I also filed a small claim suit for over $20,000, the exact amount I had documented going toward their mortgage and bills. I didn't expect to win the full thing. But I knew they didn't have the money to fight it. They had no savings. No fallback. They were served at home a week later. The fallout was fast and ugly. My mom called me in tears. "Why are you doing this? We're your family." I answered calmly, "You made me sleep in a garage. Then tried to throw me away when I stopped paying you to exist." My sister tried texting me, begging me to stop. Said I was ruining everything. I didn't respond. My dad showed up at my job. I don't know how he found me. He stood in the parking lot yelling until my manager called the police. That was the last time I ever saw him. Within a month, the utilities were cut off. The bank started the foreclosure process. They tried to sell stuff to make ends meet, but it wasn't enough. They lost the house 6 months later. I didn't go to the auction. I didn't need to. Word got around town. My parents moved into a one-bedroom apartment across town. My sister couch-surfed for a while, then tried moving in with a guy she barely knew. I heard it didn't last. As for me, I didn't walk away clean. I had a lot of guilt. Not because I was wrong, I wasn't, but because revenge doesn't fix what's already broken. It just burns the pieces so no one can put them back together. I could have walked away sooner. Could have drawn boundaries. Moved out when they first asked for money. But I stayed. I wanted to be the good son. The provider. The one who held the family together. And in the end, all I did was give them more chances to hurt me. It's been over a year now. I have my own place. A good job. A bed I bought with my own money. Silence at night instead of podcast lectures or treadmills thumping above my head. Sometimes I still think about the garage. Not the heat, or the pain, or the concrete. Just the silence. The moment I finally understood what I was to them. A wallet. A tool. A thing to be used. Now I'm free. But I had to lose my family to get there. And honestly, I'd do it all again.